Yo, happy Thanksgiving. Yes, man, this is the greatest day of, as they say, this is the greatest day of football until it isn't. But for now, we're going to soak it up. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to hope that that 1 o'clock game doesn't smash hopes and dreams heading into the 4 o'clock, just as you go over to visit family or they come as you're hosting. You know what that means? You sit there with the phone strategically placed somewhere that no one else can see it, and you monitor scores, be it your bets, your DFS lineups. You're watching the game, you're checking, and things are going downhill quick. But Eric, and I said this in a betting video the other day, the trick is you have to hold it together. Not only does nobody give a shit whether your bets or DFS lineups are doing well, more importantly, they don't care. You're a walking oxymoron, right? A walking contradiction because you're isolated. You're a recluse. You're by yourself, except you're surrounded by all of your friends and family, but nobody will ever understand. That is Thanksgiving football in a nutshell. Am I right or am I right?
Here. Lofty getting this thing fired up. I'm ready to run through the tunnel, baby. I don't know what else to say. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, I suppose, but you put that about as perfectly as you could. But then my mind always goes back to my first ever Christmas with my wife. Christmas Day, I'm sitting there. I'm winning $250,000 with one play left to go. 2016. It's beautiful times. Defensive touchdown. I dropped from $250,000 to $2,000 at Christmas dinner.
And then you got to hold it together, and nobody would understand at all.
Yep.
This happened to me last year on a showdown slate. It wasn't 250, but it was like 37,000 or something. And my father-in-law and everybody else was there, and it went from 37,000 to like 300. As I watch it, what do you say? You can't, like, if you explain that to someone, it doesn't make sense. You have to internalize it. You have to bottle it up, and you have to do so on a full belly when all you want to do is go to sleep. But there really is no better day. You want to know why? Because before these games start, before it kicks off, there is hope. And hope is all that matters.
Dude, honestly, you should have been a coach. This is fantastic stuff. You have
laugh,
ready.
You laugh, but this go. You laugh, but this could not be more accurate, right? Like,
so true.
There is always hope. Why do we do this? Why are people here with us right now? Why am I here on Thanksgiving? Why are we maxing a millie that has 600,000 people? Because there's hope. Because why not me on Thanksgiving? I'm a decent guy, we tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Why not us?
Oh my God, dude.
So let's do it, man. Why the hell not us? It's Thanksgiving football. How you feeling?
Feeling great. I feel much better after that lovely introduction. But boy, it is a gigantic tournament. Maybe this is just like, is this the biggest $5 that we've ever had, or the biggest millie that we've ever had on Thanksgiving Day? People said DFS was dead once upon a time. DFS is very alive. It is very well right now. And it looks like the ecosystem is just kind of reflecting that to us. So I'm excited for it. We're going to be able to dive in. We don't get to do a lot of shows together. We usually are ships passing in the night, if you will. So I'm excited to talk a little bit pigskin with you, although that would be incorrect, because what's it made of now? Something else.
I don't know, man. Pigskins. It'll always be a pigskin.
What's in the turkey today? Nobody knows, but it's delicious.
It'll always be a pigskin to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, glad to have you guys here. It's a wonderful day. Happy Thanksgiving. If you don't mind, look, man, it's the giving season. Take a single second, atone for your sins this morning. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. All of that is free. It goes a long way, and we appreciate you for it in advance. And for those of you over on Tails, Eric, I ran a giveaway, giving away some Sims subscriptions. Think it's Thanksgiving, right? Give them a month, 3 of them. Let it run it all the way through Christmas. I just announced the winners with a bet attached. I assume you have some NFL bets up on Tails for Thanksgiving as well.
Oh, I teased it over on X.
Ooh,
I want to ask you about this. I've never delved into this market. Maybe this was just a product of like setting the alarm early, getting in the work done, and just kind of being a little bit bored, because you go through 3 games over and over and over again. And I love that they're spaced out. We have showdowns to be able to cover. We have tons of other stuff that we'll be able to do over on Tails throughout the day today after this show. But I've never looked into the overtime market in my life.
Me
I would
neither.
generally see it like plus 1,200, plus 1,500. And I know that those are kind of like fishy numbers. Caesars had plus 1,700 posted this morning. And I don't know, that's the highest number I can remember seeing in a long time. So I did some of the math over with the good old help of ChatGPT. Plus 1,700 roughly equates to around 5.9%. 5.9% is break even plus 1,595. But you've got two games that I would consider very competitive, high stakes games: Green Bay, Detroit, Kansas City, Dallas. I'm going to stay away from the Cincy Baltimore one at the same price, but plus 1,700 to go to overtime in either of those first two games. You want to sweat? That's a pretty fun sweat for me.
It is fun. These are some great games, man. Some big totals, tough slate, but a fun slate. Michael, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, man, let's go. Listen, we keep hope alive for now. Keep that candle lit. It will burn out. It will.
Taking Wicks to the house, first play from scrimmage.
Yeah, it will. But guess what, man? Guess what? When that clock hits when you see it hit 1 o'clock, you go, we're here. And then it's 1:30. And then you're building lineups for the 4 o'clock slate. I guarantee there's at least a few of you in here today that will go and take a fake dump in the bathroom on Thanksgiving, no matter where you are, to build out some showdown lineups for the 4 o'clock or the 8 o'clock. It will happen. We've all done it. I won't even say we're guilty of it. I will proudly proclaim that I've done that many times in the past. And sometimes it's actually worked. The single lineup sim is great too if you're on the go. All right, let's make it happen, man. Glad you guys could join us. It's a great day. Green Bay and Detroit, 48-point total. The lowest total on a 3-game slate is 48 points in Detroit in the Dome against the Detroit team that defensively against Winston had some struggles last game. But I will say, I think there's a lot more nuance than it looks. Number one, Jameis Winston is just the type of guy that can actually make any defense look bad or can make any defense look like they're better than anyone in the league, right? So that's actually a real thing. The other thing is they did get some guys back on defense. Is Davenport playing today? Do you know if Davenport's playing? Because I believe Terrion Arnold is back. I know DJ Reed. Yeah, DJ Reed is off the IR and he's healthy. They did get some reinforcements after being really banged up last week. We can take a look at the Sims. I already got the Green Bay exposure pulled up here. This is a good place to start because I need your thoughts. I was picking Greg and Ben's brain on this throughout the week. What do you do with Josh Jacobs today, knowing that, yes, it was a bone bruise, he's back. It seems he probably could have played on Sunday. There's a part of me, right? The whole devil. I'm telling you, man, the Angels going, maybe it's the devil. Actually, the problem now is I can't even tell which one's the angel and the devil, right? So you got two of them disguised as God knows what going, Jacobs is fine. He's going to overtake the clear number one role. Emmanuel Wilson won't get any work. And don't forget, Josh Jacobs is a workhorse at the goal line. Nobody else gets goal line carries but Josh Jacobs. And the others saying, but Emmanuel Wilson was damn good last week against Minnesota. How do you not give him some work? How do you not work him in on a short week? It's tough, man. This is one of the toughest situations for me on the slate, truthfully.
I agree. And of course, it's the first game right out the gate where it's such a break. First player, first decision point. It's probably one of the more difficult ones because I think people who know ball are going to come in with the idea of, oh, Emmanuel Wilson played so well last week. How does Matt LaFleur not necessarily just put him out on the field here? I don't think we're talking about 5,800 Emmanuel Wilson with Josh Jacobs back, but like, does he?
No, I don't mean. I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't mean playing Emmanuel Wilson. I mean, does he take enough away from Josh Jacobs? That's my question.
Exactly. That's kind of the major crux of the argument here. It's like he's had 2 games with 11 carries, but both of those you had a dinged up Josh Jacobs. That was against Pittsburgh. Josh Jacobs got dinged up. We saw him get dinged up against the Giants. It's just kind of been one of those things where when Josh Jacobs is out there, Matt LaFleur wants to run the football over and over and over. And it's not like he's been crazy efficient on the season, 3.8 yards per carry. And you go through some of the individual metrics for it. I feel okay about having a little bit of Josh Jacobs, but do I want him to be in half my lineups right now? It's really unsettling to me that I'm underweight to Josh Jacobs as of right now. He's somebody that I ended up having to do some reductions on. It's purely because I think there's running backs that are on the other side of this game, running backs later on in the day. I think Kareem Hunt still stays kind of as the number one in a must-win, gotta have it kind of game for the Chiefs. There's just some contrarian running backs that I'm able to embrace, but if you told me Josh Jacobs took over 80% of the work right away, again, I wouldn't be shocked, but I'd be surprised to some extent if we didn't see Emmanuel Wilson at least get worked in a little bit. And so your argument is completely sane, completely rational. It's a very tough spot, not one that if you're building out one lineup, can you fade anybody? Yes. But in a 150 portfolio in that $5 today, it's really uncomfortable to me because if he ends up 30, 35%, I'm not going to forgive myself because I think there is a chance that we get some of that split action.
Yeah, it's tough because Jacobs hasn't actually been great this year from an efficiency standpoint, but still they want to go back to him. Look, here's the one thing that stands out to me, at least it was like this earlier in the week, was that, you looked at rushing yards, right? You look at the rushing yard market, and Jacobs is currently sitting at 50,
like 60 and change.
Yeah, anywhere from 59.5 up to 64.5. All right. And then Emmanuel Wilson is sitting at 22.5. The interesting thing here is that he has come down significantly throughout the week. So if we pull up rushing plus receiving as well, where's rushing plus receiving? Come on, come to me. All right, there we go. Emmanuel Wilson is at 34.5, which, for a backup, that's fine. Jacobs is at 84.5 total touchdowns. So anytime touchdown on Josh Jacobs. Yeah, anywhere from minus 130 to minus 140. I hate even referencing BetMGM. They're just never close. Emmanuel Wilson's anywhere from like plus 325 to plus 380. So pretty big gap there. Decent gap, about a 50-yard gap in yardage. I suppose I get it. But I guess the question then is, Eric, like if we're just looking at rushing plus receiving, right? I'm going to ask you this, so we don't have to spend as much time on some of these other guys when we get to those games, just kind of for the sake of brevity here.
Mm-hmm.
Gibbs is at, we'll just use FanDuel odds for each one. 117.5 rushing plus receiving. I guarantee his anytime touchdown is heavily juiced. Jacobs 81.5, 6,800. And then you've got like Montgomery 51.5. He's actually interesting to me in this game because if it's a neutral to favorable positive game script, that's when he actually ends up with those 13 to 15 touch games. When they fall behind like they did in each of the last 2 weeks, it looks like Montgomery's phased out of the offense, which isn't actually true. And then Derrick Henry's at 103.5. Chase Brown at 77.5. Samaje Perine is back. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at here. Those are the main spots to talk about. And then Javonte Williams at 81.5.
Yeah, it's a spot for me. As you said, he's come down beneath where we're looking at for, it's such a hard discussion point. And of course, it's the first thing we're talking about right out the gate. And it is the thing that makes me the most uncomfortable just because, again, Emmanuel Wilson was mega chalk this Sunday, absolutely smashed. We know what the potential of that Green Bay rushing offense can be. And we know Matt LaFleur is basically going to it because Jordan Love's been phased out of so many games, just not even remotely getting an opportunity to go out and do anything. It just feels like a spot for me to still be invested to some extent, but I'm going to probably end up being underweight where the Sims have me coming in right now. And it's an uncomfortable feeling, but I think I'm willing to kind of embrace a lot of the other volatility for some lower owned running backs. And then we have the big dog. We've got this is the best big dog spot, I think, of the entire year. And Derrick Henry is unfadable for me today in his current situation, going up against Cincinnati, touchdown favorite. So as we talk about other running backs as we go along, it's all relative to Josh Jacobs right off the bat. He's simming out well. There's no question about it, but there is some fragility to the projection purely because of coming off of an injury, Emmanuel Wilson playing well. I think we can all kind of recognize that.
Jonathan says this game's going to be a ton of 3-and-outs and Packers D. It honestly could be, man. Like if you ask me which game, goes under the total, divisional spot on Thanksgiving, a very good defense in Green Bay, an improving, getting healthier defense in Detroit. I actually could see that being the case. But as long
at 50, correct?
Yeah, it's come down. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dropped a couple of points. Alex, how much Emmanuel Wilson do the Sims have? 0? Yeah, there's no reason to get to Emmanuel Wilson at that ownership, or sorry, at that price point today. It's more or less just how much Josh Jacobs do we want to get to. Christian Watson, we're getting a lot of. I'm okay with it. You know, you're going to get naturally to Christian Watson and Jamison Williams, both in this game. I think from a value perspective, those guys stand out. And I would throw one more into the mix. That would be Xavier Worthy. My guess is we're getting much less of him, but at the same time, I'm still a little bit interested. Like this range right here. Yeah, we're only getting 13%. I would like to bring that up a little bit, and I'd like to bring Romeo Dobbs up. I don't know if I want twice as much Watson as Dobbs today, just because Dobbs has had a couple underwhelming games. He's still a possession guy that they might really need in a spot like this. Watson's the deep Watson's the deep threat. He can break a slate potentially, but he hasn't done it in quite some time. And then a lot of Jamison Williams at that price point. What's interesting about this slate, though, and we're getting a little bit of Andre Osivas. The interesting thing, though, Eric, is that there is with T. Higgins out too, there's a massive price gap. So this isn't just in the Sims exposures, but on the slate itself, like within the salaries, the players. There is nobody priced within $1,300 of Jamison Williams until you get up to $6,100 Zay Flowers.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm probably going to be smoothing this out to some extent. I mean, Jamison Williams looks the best, and I know it's coming off of evisceration of everybody's lineups on Sunday that played him, but Jamison Williams at 4,800 is underpriced. They had made it a point. Dan Campbell had made it a point taking over play calling duties to get Jamison Williams involved. And then, well, that went away in 1 week. Part of it, though, is when you rip off huge runs, it's going to take away a lot of opportunities in production to really move the ball down the field and accumulate anything else there. And Jamison Williams has been somewhat big play reliant over the course of his career, even though that's not really what he was at Alabama. He had big plays, obviously, but he was more of a possession guy there. It's just kind of how he's being utilized because Amon-Ra St. Brown is that dude. So I totally get it. Jamison Williams, 4,800, he looks by far the best, but Watson's somebody who hasn't played fewer than 55% of snaps in any game so far. He's only been getting ramped up. He's a big body, 6'4". He's just constantly been somebody that when healthy, we know he has big playability. We know he can get utilized, but like, that's not what Matt LaFleur's been doing at all this entire season. There's not been any kind of a desire to go out and let it rip. And I think it makes sense. You go out and get a player like Micah Parsons. You have a defense like they've got. You play to win the game. Duh. So, yeah, they've been establishing the run to say the very least.
Yeah, man. And then, there's still no Jaden Reed. As far as Matthew Golden goes, do we know if he's playing? I haven't seen
in 12 minutes.
Right, but we don't have confirmation or a lean even from what I've seen.
I think he plays, but that's, again, like 55-45. Plus, Matthew Golden's been awful this year.
Yes, he has. They don't trust him.
I don't blame him.
No
separation, hasn't really been winning. He got so many opportunities early on this season. You can basically see his snap count, his opportunities just fading as the year went along, where they basically said, oh God, this guy might actually suck. And Green Bay was already extremely talented as a wide receiver core, one of the most talented top to bottom with a Christian Watson coming back. Romeo Dobbs, very, very good. Obviously we haven't seen Jaden Reed for a hot second, but even though he doesn't play a ton of snaps, we know his big playability and what he adds to this offense. It's really tough for me to want to try to do anything with Matthew Golden. And then Romeo Dobbs, does he have enough in this range to potentially separate? Like, he really has not done much all season long. And on some slates, maybe, yeah, you can play and get by with him, but is he going to go out and win you a slate? No. And that's where I just think going and absorbing the Jamison Williams chalk makes sense in this range. Probably will trim down a little bit on Watson just because of what Green Bay is doing. Just a little bit lower across the board on Green Bay. The one guy I wanted to ask you about, though, is Dontavian Wicks, because he's simming out really well. And if I were to boost one guy on Green Bay upwards, because I keep talking about boosting him down, Dontavian Wicks is certainly the guy that has had rapport with Jordan Love. He's had the ability in the red zone as well. Only 2 red zone targets for Christian Watson. He caught both of them for what it's worth. What do you think about Wicks specifically?
Yeah, so I want to do something fun here, and it's just going to be At the end of each team, we're going to talk about one guy low owned, probably cheap, that could break the slate, right? And not even break the slate, but that you might need. Now, I do think pricing is soft enough on this slate where I'm not convinced that you have to do anything overly crazy. Like, I've built some awesome lineups primarily because I'm going the 2 tight ends a lot. And the tight end position, I think, believe it or not, on this slate is loaded because you have multiple games of 50 plus totals. You have one at 48. So I do think there's a lot to be said about how the 2 tight ends are going to open things up for us and allow us to get to a lot of those expensive players we want to get to. As far as Wicks is concerned, and this will be the guy, which is why I mentioned we're going to talk about one of them. Yeah, Dontavian Wicks hasn't been all that different than Romeo Doubs outside of snap count. Dobbs has that one big game in that 40-40 tie on Sunday night against the Dallas Cowboys. Outside of that, he's been relatively quiet. So I won't belabor the point here. I think Dontavian Wicks at 3,400, the fact that I'm getting 15%, perfectly fine with that. I'm not boosting him. I mean, look, if I end up getting a 15%, I am running this on 3 uniques, by the way. I'm okay with that, and that's where I'd leave it.
Yeah, I mean, you can run some stuff in the Sims as well. This is something I do a lot where, especially now that we won't be going all the way up till lock, where, might be doing live before lock and not have the opportunity to do it. But I like the idea of taking some Dobbs, like some of those lineups to just show up organically, just swapping them to Wicks. Like, I really do. I think there's a chance that you leave 1,000. Like, I can't really tell you as far as like what's coming up later, what's going to look like in my lineups, because I'm always late swapping, always kind of taking new information and trying to do the best I can to process it and use it correctly. But if you told me that the winning lineup today left 1,000 plus on the table, found you a cheap wide receiver, or we have a number of cheap tight ends that we can rotate through and talk about on this slate, including on this Detroit side where we might have some real dust to kind of take a look at to kind of max out the salary there. But yeah, it wouldn't shock me whatsoever if you just saw a swap from 1-to-1 work out really, really nicely off of Dobbs to Wicks.
Yep, agreed. And somebody asked, what about getting away from 2 tight ends? Everyone is doing it. Yeah, look, Wicks is an option there. Isaac Tesla is an option there. You can absolutely do it. I just think some of the tight ends are in very good matchups and are underpriced. Bo Grizzly, thank you for the super chat. Happy Thanksgiving, man. He said, rock the avatar. First time this weekend, got 18th Sunday night, second place Monday night in the $1 and 0.3 of a point from first place. Thanks, guys. And the Sims. Let's get that gravy. Congrats, man. And speaking of gravy, Eric, I don't know if you knew this, but right now with our Black Friday sale, you know what we got going on, baby?
What do we got going on?
50% off any weekly package that is core or max. We got 3 milli winners already this year, just this season. We have more than 3 on the year if you take other sports. 3 millis already for Stokastic Sims users, but it's not just that, man. A lot of low stakes players, mid stakes players are crushing with these tools. It's been a phenomenal year, and there's nothing I love more than seeing these Hall of Fame tweets come in with the Stokastic avatar, with or without, people using the Sims saying, look, this has changed the way I've played. We've had just an insane amount of success this year, and I really can't say enough about it, man. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, here's your chance. As Eric knows, we run a sale every Black Friday / Thanksgiving, and we try and make it as good as possible for you guys. 50% off any weekly core max package. Link is in the description. If you click that, it'll auto load gravy. If it doesn't, just use the promo code gravy, any weekly core or max package. That includes the single lineup Sims, the Sims themselves, boom bust tool, top stacks, projections, ownership, post contest, late swap. And it also includes NBA. If you already have NFL, you can come in and jump in and grab a week of NBA for free. But I'll say this much, Eric, and then we can move on. The coolest part I think about all of this is that you're getting Thanksgiving, multiple slates. You're getting Black Friday. You're getting Sunday main, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, Monday night. And then you're taking it all the way through next Thursday. So if there's ever a time to try a week with a 50% off, why not now?
Why not now, baby? Promo code gravy. It's a good opportunity as well. We're going to talk through the Sims. We're sharing them on screen here right now with you, Lafias, and you're going to be able to utilize them and have the time to be able to put your lineups in after this show. So makes it kind of an easy opportunity to jump in now and take advantage.
All right. So let's talk about this Detroit team. Gibbs There is a real part of me that wants to be underweight on Jahmyr Gibbs today. I know that's scary. Matter of fact, Gibbs was the chalkiest running back last year on Thanksgiving. This means nothing. I'm just saying. And he finished with like 12 DraftKings points. He wasn't as expensive, I don't believe, but it's just, if this game ends up being one of those kind of lower scoring, neutral game scripts, Montgomery absolutely gets more work than he has in the last couple of weeks. Maybe I just say, all right, I'm good with this much Gibbs. Now that I see my Montgomery exposure, I think I might be okay with it just because I am actually getting over the field on Montgomery as well. I think he's too cheap right now to overlook, and I don't want to overreact to a couple weeks where they were playing with a deficit and when Jared Goff completed like 6% of his passes against Philly at the Link.
Yeah, and there's nothing really to mine out of week one. These teams are kind of in different places coming off of, obviously all the hype that came in on Micah Parsons, as rightfully so, and they just completely eviscerated Detroit. But Detroit getting back home in the dome, opportunity for Jared Goff to be functional and an opportunity for Jahmyr Gibbs to keep doing what he's been doing. I'm overweight to him, and I'm overweight to my Iowa State boy. David Montgomery just continues to drop in price. He's sitting at 4,800 now. And remember, this time last year as well, it's just like, oh, which one's going to go off any given week? It's been all Gibbs this year to some extent because of what he's done from a big play perspective. But I'm with you where I do think there's a lot of game scripts where David Montgomery is going to find himself in more opportunities to actually get work. He's only had 11 carries the last 2 weeks, hasn't been dinged up. He's been pretty decent when given opportunities in the past as well. And, coming out of Chicago, nobody expected David Montgomery to be the it guy. But boy, he really showed out here the last couple of years. So it's just jarring to see a $4,800 tag next to his name now. Simming well. I mean, this is kind of why I want to strip some of that ownership away from Jacobs as well, is that I'm pretty confident that the way you beat Green Bay is you just establish the run and you pound the rock. Like 17th in DVOA, it's really the only thing that Green Bay struggles with whatsoever is just stopping the run to some perspective. They've done a great job on Amon-Ra St. Brown in the past as well. I'm going to be getting myself to a little bit more Jameson Williams regardless, just because of where his tag is relative to the opportunity. But yeah, Gibbs, Luffy, I mean, he's the guy that out of anything, if he fails at 55% of my lineups, I can totally live with that because it feels as though you are just playing with fire to an unbelievable extent because there's so many ways he can beat you. His reception props now 4.5 juice to like minus 150 on DraftKings. That's just ridiculous, Laffy.
It's insane. It is. Because he's that good. So I get it. I'm fine with it, but I don't want to be super underweight to Montgomery either, is what I'm saying. Okay. I definitely want to have some David Montgomery. As far as the pass catchers go, do I think Isaac Tesla is fine? Yeah, I expect him to get more opportunities as far as being on the field. I don't know how many targets he gets, like maybe 3 or something. He's basically been a 1 target per game guy, typically downfield. Could he break one? Sure. Is it a very tough matchup for a rookie receiver? Absolutely. With Khalif Raymond out, will his snap share increase? Yes. He's okay. I'm not in love with him today. If I lose because of Isaac Tesla, I'll be pretty upset about that. I don't have much right now, but I don't think this is a guy that I look to boost. Quite frankly, I would rather go to Isaiah Likely in that flex, say at like 26 or 2,800. I'd rather pay a tiny bit more for Mark Andrews, Mike Gesicki. Like there are tight ends that I simply like more than Isaac Tesla that I think have higher touchdown equity. That's where I'm going. I'm on Russ St. Brown. I'll do this quick for you guys. Perfectly fine with him. I prefer to get with the field because I don't have a strong lean one way or another. It is Jameson Williams that I'm getting overweight to, and I'm okay with that. He is truly a boom or bust player. He could give you literally 0, or he could potentially give you 25 to 30 at a sub 5K price point. It's just it's the nature of the slate. Jameson Williams at 4,800 is objectively a good play, whether you're comfortable with it or not. And if you're building lineups you're comfortable with on Thanksgiving, I promise you because I can speak from experience, Thanksgiving slates are not going to go well for you if you go in saying, man, every one of these lineups on paper just looks excellent. That's where I'm at on the Detroit Lions.
Perfect breakdown. I don't really have anything to add. I mean, Jared Goff in the dome, getting to Jameson Williams, getting to, around the field of Amon-Ra St. Brown, even though the results have not been good against Green Bay in his career. Again, I think for divisional opponents, it is something where I'll look at historical data, and it's not going to be something that I go crazy with by any means. Amon-Ra St. Brown projects for 21 fantasy points, regardless of the fact that he has underperformed. It's a small sample size sport. You don't want to try to go crazy with anything, but considering you get to play the team twice, you get to schematically see it match up twice a year. It's something that I take into some kind of account. I think this would be a slate that I would normally see Amon-Ra St. Brown and be like, oh, I know we got CeeDee Lamb coming up later. I know Jamar Chase is going to be a mega chalk, and I would probably find a way to get to more. I'm just going to be holding hands with the field with him. I don't want to fade him, and I don't really have any take on Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Yep. Ms. Unick. No, I know Tesla's a receiver. I was pointing out that I think there are other guys at a similar price point that I'd rather play. Just get them in at flex if I'm looking for salary relief. All right, let's talk about Kansas City and Dallas. All right, man, here we go. The Dallas Cowboys at home, 3.5-point dogs, coming off of quite a nice victory, come from behind victory against the Eagles. Really not surprising, though. At home against the reigning champs, come on. The fashion in which they won was surprising. The fact that they won, not surprising at all. Plus, it was only like a field goal, 3.5-point spread. I say all of that because how much does that skew our perception of them today? I still like this Kansas City offense. I think you have to, from Rashee Rice to Kelsey. We'll talk about Xavier Worthy, but I don't want to ignore either that, and maybe it's irrelevant. Maybe I shouldn't even mention it on a 3-game slate, that the addition of Quinnen Williams, getting a Marvion Overshawn back. I'm not saying that guy is like a world beater, but the defense has looked objectively better. The pass rush has looked better. I know the Raiders have the worst offensive line in human history. 10 sacks last week for Geno, but he had no time to throw against Dallas. The Eagles have a good offensive line, maybe not as great this year. Dallas got a lot of pressure there and forced a lot of bad throws from Jalen Hurts, had a lot of effort plays to force turnovers and this and that. I do think at home, this game should stay competitive, but how do you get away from the Chiefs? And if you're talking about a guy that could break a slate, I'm a sucker. I'm not saying you guys should do this. I'll boost Xavier Worthy a little bit. He's too there's just too much. He's not Jameson Williams necessarily because you haven't seen that type of game since Rice came back, but he has similar qualities that if Worthy ended up having 7 targets and 2 of them were 30-yard touchdowns and one of them was on an end around, nobody would be like, man, I can't believe that happened.
Agreed. And just to talk about that game for a quick second from Sunday, the Eagles playing ahead is one of the most painful things ever. Your team
always relinquish that lead.
Why? Always. Maybe one of the most automatic live bets ever going forward anytime, because the play calling just goes by the wayside. It was some of the most egregious play calling. They give Hurts no opportunity. Saquon has 7 guys stacked in the box because they know that it's coming. 8 guys in the box every single time. It's egregious. Give AJ Brown. They were just handing it to Dallas in the first half and completely took their foot off the pedal. I think it was more of a problem with the Eagles play calling than I'm going to give a ton of credit to Dallas. But I will say this.
Well, also a fumble from Barkley and a fumble from Gibson did not help either.
Did not help in any way, shape, or form. But I had this conversation yesterday with a buddy at the bar. We just literally had bar conversation. You get to start your football team. It's so true. You get to start your football team.
Josh Engelman. We love him.
I saw that come in earlier. I was just like, that's so true. Start your football team. We do a draft. Who are the first 3 defensive players in the NFL right now that you would start your football team with today? There are 1, 2, 3. What order would you put what defensive player in a draft? So if you had the first pick, who would you pick? Second pick, who would you pick? Third pick, who would you pick?
Oh, I don't know, man. There's a lot of good defensive.
Quinnen Williams is definitely in that top 3.
Yeah, Quinnen Williams, Myles Garrett, Jalen Carter, Patrick Surtain. Yep. There's a lot of guys, honestly. Jared Verse. There's so many guys that we probably don't even talk about all that much that. But yes, I get what you're saying.
But you know ball because you just rattled off 8 of them, and I don't think there's a lot of DFS folks who are able to do such things. So props to you. That's why you are who you are.
Aiden
But
Hutchinson, like there's a lot of those guys out there, right? Parsons. So I get what you're saying, but yes, like Quinnen Williams is up there, man.
he's in that conversation. Is the whole point is that, of course, they were going to have a better defense, but I think run stopping was never really the concern we had with Dallas coming into this season as is. It's just that they're a complete sieve when it comes to the passing game. We saw Philadelphia, when they decided to throw the football in that first half, eviscerate them. Guess what we know Kansas City is going to do? No matter what, no matter the game script, no matter the score, they are going to go out and throw. And I had tweeted this out as well yesterday. I just don't see a lot of planets where I'm not playing a ton of Patrick Mahomes today. I think he's the best quarterback play by a pretty noticeable margin. We've seen so many times when Kansas City needs to have football games, they just give it to the best quarterback that we've seen in a very, very, very long time, aside from potentially just talking in the GOAT conversation, him and Tom Brady. But Patrick Mahomes is going to get every opportunity to throw the football around the lot. And considering there's not a pass rush I really trust there on the Dallas side, considering the cornerback situation, I love Rice. I absolutely love contrarian Xavier Worthy. I love the opportunity for Kelsey even at a tight end position where a lot of people are going to be punting. A lot of people are going to be going that direction. I might have accidentally clicked something there. I apologize. There we go.
Good,
but here we are. I just love Mahomes today.
Yeah, I do too. And, Josh is awesome and made this for us. He took all of the boom bust data and he's like an AI wizard. So he put together this sick tool, right? That allows us to see all of the boom bust data, but like really visualize it.
Incredible.
And it's awesome, isn't it? And like, dude, you can hover over the names. If you guys want this, if you would like something like this on the site, let us know because we should get this on the site. We really should.
I don't think people recognize how good Josh is at this shit. And I'm not saying
it's wildly impressive.
I'm not trying to, fillet the guy at fucking 8:37 a.m. But boy, oh boy, he is incredible with the old, with the graphics, with the AI, the stuff he's able to do is beyond comprehension to me. So shout out Josh, because I think it would be wrong for us not to get this on the site like immediately at some point. But boy, is this cool. It encapsulates what we're talking about with Mahomes too, which makes me even happier.
Right. Like he is negatively leveraged, but his boom score today compared to the rest of the field is insane. Right. Like that boom score is nowhere near anybody else. He's got like an 19% boom score. He's just tough to get away from. I will say Joe Burrow, and we'll talk about that. Positively leveraged, but definitely one of the lower boom scores returning from injury. I have some thoughts there. But yeah, wanted to pull that up. And then if you look at the wide receivers, right? Rashee Rice is another one. And by the way, Jameson Williams, if you wonder why Eric and I are interested in him, he's the boom score for Jameson Williams at 4,800 is not far off from a lot of these other players. Like it's essentially the same as Pickens in a spot like this, Zay Flowers, except he's way cheaper. Now the bust score is always going to be a lot higher on a guy like him, but the upside on a 3-gamer stands out. But Rashee Rice up here, very tough to ignore that. Second highest boom score on the entire slate. Travis Kelsey, my assumption if we get to the tight end position. Yep, second behind Mark Andrews, by the way. I absolutely love to see that. So yeah, am I surprised that we're getting Travis Kelsey exposure and a lot of Rashee Rice and a lot of Mahomes? Absolutely not. I'm not even going to harp on this because I think there's other spots that are more important for us to talk about. Kelsey's been far more involved. You've seen a resurgence there lately. Like he still has some gas in the tank, unbeknownst to many of us. Rashee Rice, people, I think people assume that because he's on the Chiefs and they've been notorious for spreading the ball around at times, when Rice is healthy, this guy has double-digit target upside for sure, and he's elite. So both of those guys clearly stand out. So does Mahomes, 51.5 point total game. I'll say it one more time though. And again, you guys are placing your own lineups into these contests and I'm not doing it for you. So don't Salem witch hunt me later and try and burn me at the stake when this goes wrong. But yes, I will have some additional shares and exposure to Xavier Worthy today, just in case, because I'm not really sure he's that far behind these Green Bay, if at all, these other similarly priced Green Bay receivers in that exact same price range.
Agreed. Like Xavier Worthy, obviously, I think his biggest game in the last.
Golden's inactive, by the way, just so you know.
I saw chat absolutely spewed and blew that one up.
Thanks, guys.
I'm not going to go completely nuts with that one purely because I think he was going to be like a 25-30% kind of snap share kind of guy.
Agreed. Anyway. It just probably gives a little more to Wicks, though.
Yes. It makes me feel better about my Wicks exposure. I think that's probably what it does the most. But with Xavier Worthy, the big playability is obviously there. The guy was the fastest dude at the combine in history. We've got enough play logs. Like his snap share continued to accumulate over the course of last year, culminated in a second half come from behind. Well, they didn't make it competitive at all, but you needed him on the Super Bowl slate. We'll put it that way. There's a lot of game scripts where Xavier Worthy just kind of gets phased out. Last week was a weird one. 30 carries for Kareem Hunt. They played to the score. Teams played to scores. It was a wonky game script for what you would expect for Kansas City. I just kind of disregarded to a certain extent. Complete outlier. There were a lot of plays where they were trying to run the clock out towards the end of that fourth quarter just because they didn't want to give Indy the ball back. They kind of like gave some extra carries that wouldn't have been there. Then they get to the OT. There's extra carries that existed there. Just things didn't really work in anybody's favor there on the Kansas City side. I feel pretty good about Xavier Worthy not getting steamed up. We'll have the ownership also from the earlier game and know where Jameson Williams came in. If Jameson Williams fails and, ends up mega chalk, there are a lot of lineups where I think Xavier Worthy is going to be somebody that I kind of feed a little bit more into those. Just be late swapping and be aware of where he is in the range. But like Yoshivas, I was very high on this Sunday, not very high on him today. Number of different reasons why, but Xavier Worthy with the guy in Patrick Mahomes that I know is going to get unleashed in a spot like this. I just want to take all the pass catchers that I can.
Yep. I'm with you. And as much as you like Patrick Mahomes, why wouldn't you? Again, I don't really think there's much to really parse out with guys like with guys like Rice and Kelsey. I do think there's a lot to be said, and I'm going to toss it right to you to get your thoughts here on the Dallas guys, because you have CeeDee Lamb, who's sub 7K now. Last year, man, he was the highest owned receiver and had 5 fantasy points. That means, again, nothing. This game should definitely push them more than any like Washington or New York Giants game they get on Thanksgiving. This one is uniquely positioned to have some big games. I understand George Pickens is you guys know as well as George Pickens is one of my favorite players. But same back in Pittsburgh, this guy gets a good quarterback, he's going to be one of the best players in all of football. Although he's a menace, which I love about him. You can't have too many menaces in the league, but if you have a couple, it makes it great. But CeeDee Lamb at sub 7K, man. Like, how do I get away from that? I also think the fact that he operates out of the slot often enough is good against some really good outside corners in Kansas City. I actually feel like this sets up to be a potential CeeDee Lamb game.
This also sets up as like Steve Spagnuolo gets a little too cute. There's sometimes in some of these games in domes where I'm just a little surprised. We saw it again against your Eagles last year in the Super Bowl, like stuff like that, where Steve Spagnuolo sends some weird kind of combination blitzes and things just open up for big plays for wide receivers. He really gets a little too cute in spots like this. And we have enough of a sample size of kind of seeing him as a defensive coordinator where I feel extremely confident in CeeDee Lamb as your favorite run back. I think we had that question just a second ago. If stacking up Mahomes, who do you like for the run backs? It's CeeDee Lamb all day for me. The guy had what? 3 egregious drops last week. You add those to the total, looks a lot better. You have a lot of CeeDee Lamb opportunity here in a game where I expect Kansas City to be pushing the pace of it. Looks pretty good to me. And Javonte Williams, again, another hand-holding running back situation for me, but I'm a little bit over where the Sims even have me at CeeDee Lamb. He is sitting right in that 50% threshold for me. If CeeDee Lamb sub 7K in a game that they should be getting pushed fails me in this spot, I'm all right losing money in that capacity. I'm not all right, when I get overweight to some of these extremely thin plays or, I really don't want to play a 7K Pickens. I think he's been incredible. I think what he's been doing for Dallas has been, no doubt, something that stands out. But you get some of these drops away, they're going to still feed CeeDee Lamb. He's still CeeDee Lamb. I will buy right back in.
By the way, brother, we got about 2,200 people hanging out with us on Thanksgiving morning. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It's awesome. I mean, where would you rather be?
I do want to know, those of you who, married, maybe you got kids, maybe just marry or whatever, like, Are you hiding out right now? What are you doing? How do you?
This is a 2-hour show for me, Loppy.
Yeah. I'm just curious. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving. Oh, you know what? Chris Longo, good call. Only 285 likes on Thanksgiving.
Come on now.
I mean, 337 now. We will pop 500 within the next minute. We got good people around here.
Pass me the green bean casserole. Let's fucking go.
Here you go. The Chicago Bears, my wife gave up. Smith definitely hiding out. Sam, wife's at the families. I'm alone until my – oh, dude, that is – oh, my God, do I envy you. That's fantastic. Wife's at the family. I'm alone until my dad gets here to watch the game. Holy shit. My God. You got it made, brother.
Baby's crying crazy and mom's taking a shower. Always fun.
Joseph, my wife's cooking, so I'm good. My wife's up there doing a lot of that with the kids. I mean, God bless her, dude. I'm serious. She's the best. She puts up with me, which which is like one of the toughest things I think anybody could possibly do. Yeah, Josh Weiss at the in-laws with the kids already. I am working. That's the move. That is the move right there. For those of you guys who are not married yet, who you are younger, that is the move right there. That's the move. See, you got to figure some things out at times. That's all.
Yep.
That's it.
I love our chat. So, yeah, there's some things happening, chat. It's a long restroom break. That's probably the most relatable one. Yeah.
That, and this is the best one, too. I use this all the time. Volunteer to go to the grocery store hiding out. Dude, trips to the grocery store are like heaven sometimes. You know what I mean?
What do you walk out with? I always walk out with donuts and then eat them before I get home.
If you go to the grocery store hungry, it's a big problem, man. Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah.
Some people call it the solution.
Sean, if you ain't lying, you ain't trying. But yeah, these are the best. These are awesome. Once kids get introduced, though, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Like without kids, you just slip away. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, I'm with you on Lamb. Javonte, he's been really good even against the Eagles last week. He picked up some good chunk yardage. I did not expect it. I bet the under on his rushing yards last week, and I did not win. But yeah, Pickens, Cowboys D, and I'd urge you guys to kind of ignore a lot of these defensive spots. It's just you're going to get a bunch, and even if you have defense against two players from the other team, don't worry about that. Ben had a great thread on Twitter yesterday talking about how he'll even have some lineups where he's stacking against his D. Because if they were to have a touchdown or even two, and then the team comes back, there's a lot of ways that could be optimal. So anything else on the Cowboys? This is the one spot, though, I'll say, where is it possible that a Turpin or something could be needed? Maybe. I don't see myself getting weird with the Cowboys today. It's kind of the one team I'm not going cheap.
Yeah, I will say this. I think the defense is actually interesting. And you had an awesome thread with Steve Buzzard and Tom as well, where that was awesome. Tom, very, very high level stuff. But then also there was some great tidbits from Steve Buzzard as well, just kind of regarding the defense, where you don't want to put yourself in a box or a corner where you're just playing like 50-60% of a defense on days like this, where there's not one defense outside of, I think, the Ravens that we could really look at and say that they're in a fantastic spot. Green Bay has the most talented defense, I think, on the entire board. Kansas City, probably the best coached, but overall, there's no doubt Cowboys defense, 2,400. It's what else it gives you. And I'm not that comfortable clicking on the Bengals just because of what I expect Derrick Henry to be doing to that football team. But I really like the Cowboys defense, 2,400. And I'm not saying that they go out and succeed, but I expect Kansas City to throw the ball around a lot. And as such, a tip pass here, a pick six there, you have that at 2,400. And then it gives you opportunity to get to the Lambs and Chases and Henrys of the world. I really like that kind of a build today. So Cowboys defense, I'm pretty overweight too.
Yep, I get it. Very cheap. Paul Newman, I will be making apple sausage stuffing soon. I'm going to give you guys a little secret here. Paul could not be more right. I never really did sausage stuffing until I met my wife and her family made it. Once you go to sausage stuffing, apple sausage stuffing, I haven't done that, but that sounds incredible. Yeah. Once you go to sausage, dude, I'm telling you, you go to sausage stuffing, it changes everything. Like it's the pinnacle of stuffing, because stuffing is the best food on Thanksgiving. I don't want to hear anything else.
Oh my God. Wow. That is a take. That's honestly a take. Honestly, the worst food at Thanksgiving is the turkey, right? Like,
yeah, everyone says that, But like, it's not the worst. It's just maybe I still love the turkey. Smother it in gravy, dip it in the mashed potatoes with some corn and stuffing, eat it all in the same bite. Like that's if think of it this way, if Thanksgiving didn't have turkey, I'd still be disappointed. Like I still want the turkey on my plate. What do you think is the best food? Because to me, it's for sure. Don't tell me cranberry sauce, and I like cranberry sauce.
So I'm a South Dakota simpleton. My two, I call them 1A, 1B. Mashed potatoes. How do you live without mashed potatoes? Like,
well, I love them. We make them for Thanksgiving when we go to my in-laws.
That's the one thing that I'll usually help out with it because it's the easiest thing to put together and it's just fantastic. But then green bean casserole, I'm such a sucker for that
too.
Sweet potatoes, I've started to come on to later in my life, but did not like them as a kid. But stuffing, the favorite. That is, that is a wild take.
No, it's not, dude. Stuffing is the great. First of all, I mash it all together. I eat everything. I'm no joke. I'm talking probably a 3 to 4 pound plate. I do not turn anything down at all. I'm going to eat it all. I will not eat. I didn't eat since breakfast, and I will not eat until I get there. I will not eat a single morsel of food until I get there. Just the way it is, man. It's got to be done. But no, green bean casserole is delicious. Sure, mac and cheese. Thank you, Paul.
Is mac and cheese a Thanksgiving food?
We don't typically do it, but a lot of people do. A ton of people do mac and cheese.
Interesting choice, everybody. You can do that. I don't know, the other 364 days.
I'm making sweet potato bake for the first time. It's actually my wife's. It was her grandma's recipe, and it's so good. And she's not coming, so I'm going to try it. I'll probably botch it. It'll taste like shit. But how can you really mess something up when it's just sweet potatoes, butter, and sugar?
You got the Blackstone, though. You can always save the day if you need to.
Yeah, well, we're not doing it here. We're not doing it here.
Oh, gotcha.
Anyway, ready to get to this third and final game?
Let's do it.
Cincinnati, Baltimore. Here we go. I do love this game, and it's going to be tough for me to get away from. By the way, thank you guys. We're north of 500 likes. I knew that was a foregone conclusion. And I'm pulling something up real quick here. Honestly, like, the Baltimore Ravens, I know there's a lot of talk about maybe Lamar isn't right and this and that. Their total's north of 25 today, or 29 today. Like, I really don't care. I'm playing a lot of him. I'm playing a lot of Andrews, playing a lot of Likely. The Bengals, if you guys haven't watched any shows earlier this week, 13 touchdowns allowed to tight ends. How do I not go there? The second worst team has allowed 7. The Bengals have allowed almost 1,000 yards to tight ends through 11 games. They're averaging over 10 targets per game to the position. Like, they are a sieve in the middle of the field. They're so bad there. But Flowers, Andrews, Likely, I'm getting to those guys. And then on the other side, Jamar Chase. Yes, he's going to be chalky. I understand all of that. I kind of don't care. Without T. Higgins, look at Jamar Chase's boom percentage, and he's barely negatively leveraged. The truth is, he's probably my favorite play on the slate. And you've mentioned this with other players today. If Jamar Chase ends up not being good, and it ends up just being one of those games where he lets us all down and I have to sit there with my head in my stuffing, then I don't really care, because it's a decision I'm all right making, not one that I'm going to regret.
And it's something you and I are both, I think, doing, just kind of talking through it and just kind of hearing your opinion too. Play more David Montgomery, 4,800, gives you the opportunity to get to these pass catchers that I want to get to the most. And then we'll talk about these punt tight ends on the Cincy side too, because, I think they open up so much to be able to get to these main guys. I will not play this slate without playing Chase. I will not play this slate without playing Rice, and I will not play this slate without Lamb. If one of those three just completely sucks today, so be it. I mean, more than likely, you're going to get one of those three that's going to completely suck, but rotating two of those guys throughout every single lineup today is kind of the way for me today. Like, I'm not getting crazy with like any individual one of them, but Jamar Chase at like 45% of my lineups currently, 42% there on the screen in the Sims. That's where I want to be. No T. Higgins out there. Whenever one of him or the other guy, again, Higgins failed last week, concussion. He wasn't really having a good game up until that point anyway. Wasn't probably going to work out for you. But Jamar Chase is an alpha. T. Higgins is an alpha. And when one of them is out, you have an opportunity to just see it funnel completely down to them. And at 8K, he's underpriced. I'm with you.
I'm going to hit we got to hit these super chats quick. But appreciate all of you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Crooked Samaritan, is it a bad idea to use 3 uniques for 100 lineups in a GPP? Absolutely not. No. Especially on a slate like this. No, it's not a bad idea at all. If you can do 4 and still keep it in the positive sim range, that's fine. Also, do you guys ever set a max salary to minimize dupes? Great question. I don't, because the sims typically account for that anyway.
Well, I don't do it anymore because I can filter them. Like,
right.
You're able to so easily filter it. If you just go to the main page, filter it, have less than 1 dupe or something like that, you can get to some max salary stuff that's still looking pretty darn good. And we have a massive amount of NFL lineups, 10,000 sims that we're doing for main slates, 50,000 for the showdowns. You should be just fine.
Beach 911 just took advantage of the promo. Awesome, man. And remember, guys, it's still going 50% off any weekly core max package. That's a massive discount. We typically always only reserve these for days like this, for weeks like this, for these type of holidays. Links in the description for any max or core. And even if you can't get it in before the first game, go take a look at the size of those showdown contests for today and for tonight. Go look at the Black Friday one tomorrow in the main slates. Perfect time to jump in on a week. How do I block gray bottom of the screen so I can't see the full? I don't know. I guess just zoom out. I don't know the answer to that, Eric.
Yeah. How do I block gray bottom of the screen so I can't see the full player windows? Yeah, I would do some kind of a zoom out. You can do Command Shift -sign on a Mac. I'm not sure what it is on a PC, but pretty easy to be able to try to, or use a different browser.
Core plays above the field for $5 GPP on DK nuke of the night. Yeah, I mean, core plays for me are going to be Chase, probably Jameson Williams, and if I'm getting cheap, and then Eric can give you 2 of his as well.
Yeah, well, I think the DK, the nuke of the night, like the nuke of the end zone, isn't that the promotion that they have going today, where it's like the longest touchdown scored, you get like a share of $2 million. I like Devontae Walker as like a way off the board guy to potentially get to, where nobody's going to be clicking on him. I think one of my favorite mid-range guys probably ends up being, again, you're looking for like the longest touchdown play of the day. Jamar Chase is probably going to be pretty chalky, as is Lamb. I looked a little bit at Kevontae Turpin on the Dallas Cowboys as well. I'm going to probably look at that a little bit afterwards, but we've got an hour after the fact. But longest touchdown play, you're looking for a burner. You're looking for somebody that could potentially break one to the house. If it ends up being a chalkier guy, so be it. But those are my 2 very contrarian ones for that.
Beach says, I really need an answer so I can finish my line. I don't know, man. Here's what I'd say. The chat is super versed in the Sims. They may know exactly what you're talking about. And if they do, guys, if you know what he's talking about here, hit him up, let him know. Talking about having a problem with, what is he saying, with the grayed out part of the screen?
Take a screenshot of it and tag either Lofty or me over on X.
Yeah, there you go. Good idea.
Do that. So at Lofty or at Eric Lindquist, let us know.
Jorge, what's up, brother? Happy Thanksgiving, man. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for everything you guys do. The best of the best. Question of every year: pumpkin pie side or dessert? Are you saying, is it a side or dessert? I mean, it's a dessert and it's delicious. I love pumpkin pie. Anyone who disagrees should be banished to the ends of the earth. And the truth. Thank you for the super chat, brother. If you have a question, let us know. All right. Yeah, for me, Bengals, Chase. I do like Gesicki here. I think he'll be. I know it's a short week with him returning, but he got full practice in last week. I think he's probably okay. Maybe Noah Fant destroys it all for all of us. The interesting thing is that Chase Brown's exposure for us in the Sims has come down a lot throughout the week. What do you make of that?
I think it's just purely opportunity. I mean, he's been the very, very, very lead back, but we've seen that rushing yard prop drop. I've been watching that constantly throughout the week. It was popping actually on Portfolio EV on the underdog side, where it was like 59.5. Now it was sitting at 55.5. Haven't seen where it's at now, but I don't think anybody really expects Chase Brown to get there through rushing equity here against the Ravens in this spot. That would be a little surprising to everybody. He has enough passing game involvement that's good to go here, but Samaje Perine really has been on the outside looking in, only 1 carry last week, but he had been mixed in a lot more in a competitive Jets spot there, had 9 carries in that one and was absolutely crushing for anybody watching that game. I think it was like north of 10 yards per carry, but I think we're probably going to just see Chase Brown still absorb most of it, but as they start to get phased out here, I know Joe Burrow, this is his first real, I guess, General Custer's last stand kind of spot, but I understand what the Sims are doing. His price is still okay at 6,500, where I'm all right mixing him in, but I understand why there's an underweight approach there.
Let's finish this one out on the other side as we wrap up our show today on Thanksgiving. And it is the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, I've told you where I'm at here. I like them today. I get that there might be some, negative sentiment towards Lamar, but and that he's not running as much and all that stuff. Eric, I'm going to boost him a little bit. I'm already getting to some Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers is fine. His touchdown equity has been not great lately, but overall, you're talking about the highest total on the slate. It's a divisional spot, but Cincinnati's pass defense is terrible. If and by the way, as far as Joe Burrow is concerned, I know we weren't getting a ton of him, but and I guess I understand that, but I still want pieces of this Cincinnati team. I really do like Lamar Jackson today. If it bites me in the ass, so be it. But it's just I'm not convinced yet, and I know it's a short week and he hasn't looked perfect. But I'm not convinced yet that Lamar Jackson can't go out there and have a big game against a very bad defense. And, with Vegas, it's still the highest total on the entire slate, the highest total on the entire week if you include all of the Sunday, Monday, and Friday games as well.
I'm curious, did you watch a little bit of him against the Jets last week?
I did, and I watched him the previous week as well. He's struggling to get out of the pocket. He's taking too many hits. I get it.
But he missed Hopkins on an easy touchdown twice. There were some throws that fade to the end zone, and Hopkins was just like an obvious can't miss. And it would have been the 1,000th catch for DeAndre Hopkins, and it would have been a tutty. That would have been picturesque. Would have been awesome stuff for one of the best wide receivers we've ever seen. But I'm with you. I think getting to Lamar Jackson is probably my favorite of the non-Patrick Mahomes quarterbacks here. The Goff one just makes sense with where the price is in that game environment, and maybe things kind of break your way with Jameson Williams stacks. But Cincinnati tight ends, they have a problem. I jammed Hunter Henry on Sunday. We talked about it ad nauseum on Live Before Lock, and then we were saved by Drake May just being the most expensive quarterback on the slate, or I would have had Drake May on a lot of other slates. This is Lamar Jackson, a little bit different situation. So yeah, Mark Andrews. I saw you had the Isaiah Likely bet. I really like the idea of some of those double tight ends with him, just kind of absorbing those two. And
I'll even go Likely and Andrews in some lineups.
That's what I was saying. I really like that double tight end look. So probably be something I late swap and take a look at some of those lineups that maybe have Jasicki, and I'll analyze how my lineups are doing. But hard not to like them. Sims jamming Mark Andrews, totally get it. Touchdown equity out the roof.
Yeah, man. It's kind of just one of those things too, where Cincinnati doesn't have Trey Hendrickson either. And do they have a pass rush, right? If there's no pass rush, then are we as worried about Lamar Jackson's time to throw? If the answer is no, I like him more. The Jets actually got pretty decent pressure last week. So that's it.
Some young pieces. Maybe I understand a little bit more. They opened up a lot of money now by getting rid of Q and getting rid of Sauce. I thought they've performed pretty well since both of them left, to be fair.
I agree. They're just super undisciplined, and they take dumb penalties and too many defensive holding and pass interference calls that just totally change the position of the field. True. That's the problem.
True.
All right. Is there a cheap option here that could break the slate? Of course, my answer is Isaiah Likely.
Oh, baby. Yeah, Isaiah Likely. Just in this game or in general, cheap play?
Well, we hit them all on the other games.
Yeah, Wicks is my favorite of the cheap guys right now. But yeah, I would say out of anybody sub 3,500, Isaiah Likely probably my favorite.
All right. Hey, if you're not over on Tails yet, before we go, my God, do we have an incredible amount of bets right now up there. Dude, you go in there, but it's free. You just create a free account. You can be sweating bets with us, and there's a lot of DFS content. I gave away 3 Sims Max months today. Hopefully you guys got in on that. Actually, one guy in chat thanked me earlier. He was a winner, which is awesome. And shout out to Ron for handling those redemptions on Thanksgiving Day. But look, trending topics, Thanksgiving football. Look at this, man. Look at this. And then you can one-click tail these bets. I mean, what are we doing if we're not on tails yet? Seriously, all of your Thanksgiving Day bets in one spot. Go into the leaderboard, see who's killing it lately, right? See who's trending, get who you want to be jumping on and tailing. Just amazing stuff. So
yeah, my guy Jay Middle K came from the Lindy and Friends Discord, from my Discord. The guy has been incredible. Kind of pointed it out a couple months ago where I'm like, dude, you got to be on this thing. And since he has, I mean, he's just crushed,
it's awesome.
absolutely crushed. One of the best pick'em guys that exists too. He's playing pick'em. He's got a lot of bets out there as well in the NHL streets. And there's so many opportunities throughout the day to be able to jump in there and get updated bets. I'm going to be posting stuff throughout the day. Lofty as well. Just there's not a better spot. Plus, we got football on Friday, baby. Greg and I will be on live before lock covering that one for you. So just tune into that. Plus, I think Infinity NBA games that I get to cover for tomorrow. That'll be lovely. I'll have some NBA stuff up nice and early for you as well.
Hell yeah, baby. Also, these guys joined yesterday, Edge Zone. Every single one of you should follow them. I don't usually quote post and like give these big endorsements of people. Dude, these guys are sharp. All of their bets are tracked. You see the results every day. They understand, like the Arb Fathers one he started this. This guy made like 250,000 on live Arbs last year. He understands top down plus EV betting. He understands Arbs exchanges, right? Like he understands prediction markets. These guys are sick, man. I'm telling you, Eric, you too. Like I'm no joke. I'm joining their VIP and I'm tailing them. No joke. And
they know exactly what they're doing.
I don't do that.
And that's the fun part for us too. It's like we're very fortunate to be able to work with some sharp people and, you know, be able to figure out stuff somewhat well ourselves at times. But you get a team like that coming in, it is a game changer for Tails. I'm very excited.
Yeah, man. Anyway, hey, have a great Thanksgiving, guys. Enjoy that sausage stuffing. I don't want to hear any blasphemy from you guys. And don't forget, we still have hope. We still have hope. Until that first big play from Isaac Tesla or whoever else it may be destroys our dreams, we still have hope. And we will carry that into 1 o'clock. And when all of the shit hits the fan by 4:30, we will stare our family members in the eyes and we will be dead inside, but we will say nothing because they'd never understand. Have a great rest of the day. Happy Thanksgiving. We will catch you tomorrow. Eric and Greg, Black Friday, Eagles and Bears. Bye.